Welcome to the Sooner Surge, a podcast from SurgeSportsNetwork.com. Here is the entire Sooner Surge team. Brody, Hunter, Jason, Jaxon, Jeremy, and Traber.
He tells it like it is, and I'm going to tell you like it is right now.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Sooner Surge. And this week, it's been a busy week. Had baseball, softball, some basketball portal news, and then obviously the spring game is 7 days away from the day we're recording this. So I guess we'll just start talking about the spring game. Hunter, what is the biggest thing you're going to watch for in next week's spring game?
I think it's the thing that everyone should be watching for in Jaxon Arnold. Every time there's a spring game, that's kind of the next quarterback at Oklahoma's chance to introduce themselves. In my article, I talked about like how Baker's first spring game in 2015, how he did well. Kyler in 2017, his first spring game at OU, did really well, better than Baker actually. Then you had Jalen Hurts, you had Spencer Rattler, which he didn't really get that same experience, and then Caleb Williams, which, Dylan Gabriel last year had a really good performance, I would say. I would say it's one of his best performances during his time at OU. And now you got the five-star quarterback, Jaxon Arnold, best quarterback in last year's class. And he should be seeing the field quite a bit as he's looking to be the second-string quarterback this year.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing I'd say is watching the trenches, the offensive line and the defensive line, because that's where everything starts. The offensive line is going to be pretty interesting. You don't have Walter Rouse, who will start at probably left tackle. So it'll be interesting to see what Caden Green can do at left tackle. And then defensive line, I think that's a major, probably the biggest question mark on this team, especially in the interior. So guys like Jonah Laulu, it's going to be interesting to see how they perform.
Yeah, couple things I'm looking forward to on Saturday, seeing in person is the gains that maybe they've made in the strength and conditioning, seeing what these guys' bodies look like. I'm excited for that. I'm also the wide receiver position to me and the defensive side, the Cheetah, some of these guys that have come in this year. I'm ready to see Canick, see what he's looking like. McCullough, just see what they do there. And the wide receivers, like I said, we already know what we're getting with some of those guys. So I don't even think Drake Stoops is going to be, he'll be out there, but I'd rather see some guys maybe that we don't know exactly what they can do out there on Saturday instead of some guys that we already know what they're going to offer us.
Yeah. The question I have is the wide receiver room, because we've heard lately in spring that Andrew Anthony's starting to separate himself as wide receiver 3. It'll be kind of interesting to see where Jaden Gibson and DJ Graham end up in this rotation. And I think it's pretty, from things we've heard, that Anderson and Andrew Anthony right now are battling it out for wide receiver 3. I'm kind of interested just to see who maybe steps up in the spring game and shows they're worthy of that role. I don't know how much stock you can necessarily buy off of a spring game, even though us as Sooner fans do it every single year. But I don't really know if we're going to get a fair say of who's going to be wide receiver 3 coming week 1.
For me, it's I look at two guys in particular just because of their recruiting status and how highly recruited they were, and that's PJ Adebawore and Peyton Bowen, 2 5-star recruits that, let's just be honest, OU hasn't had a ton of 5-star recruits on defense in a while.
Yeah.
So just seeing 5-star recruits on defense and what they look like, it's not like a 5-star coming in at receiver. It's a little different on that side of the ball. So that'd be interesting to see. And also, this one's kind of a weird one, but punter.
Yeah.
Okay. We're so used to Turk, man, and Turk's automatic. So I'm just kind of interested to see this other guy punt, seeing what he's got, and 2 guys probably.
Yeah, and same with kicker too. But we'll just
Schmidt's got kicker though.
I don't know.
Kevin Marshall.
I think it's going to be the Reed.
Ready. Yeah. So there's 3 guys.
I think he's going to start. Isn't he? Doesn't he have some sort of relation to like Teddy Lehman or something like that?
No, I don't know, but
Teddy Lehman has sort of connection. I know that.
Yeah, another interesting thing. I'm wondering what you guys think about this. that I think we'll find this out when the rosters come out. Last year, Dylan Gabriel was the quarterback for both teams. Do you guys think he will be the QB1 for both teams this year, or are they going to make it?
No way.
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, I don't think they should do it that way, but it honestly wouldn't surprise me.
They only
too
did that
much.
last year because he needed the reps. Big
Yeah,
time.
I think they're going to try to get Jaxon Arnold.
Well,
as
and
much
last
as-
year they also didn't have a second string quarterback either.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Bevel and Booty, even though, they weren't
They weren't on campus.
until
Hey guys,
fall, so.
being there live, it's going to be it. You're going to be able to tell when the ball comes out of Arnold's hands versus Gabriel. It's going to be night and day difference, looks wise. I think it's going to be like when there's going to be oohs and ahs when it comes out of Jaxon Arnold's hands. I'm not saying he's the QB1. I'm just saying he's different, man. He's a game changer when it comes to arm strength. Dylan Gabriel, from what I've seen on videos, he does look stronger. Okay, his upper body looks stronger. He seems to be putting in the work in the weight room. And one thing we haven't heard a lot about in Smitty's first year back, everyone was talking about that, right? The workouts. It's kind of been quiet on that side of it. I don't think it's because they're taking anything off. I just think there was a huge change from the other guy to Schmitty.
Wiley, yeah.
I don't speak really of him, but the other guy to Schmitty, and now it's like everyone knows what to expect, so we don't need to talk about the workouts anymore. But I saw a video, guys. Nick Anderson, my goodness,
Who would be the
guy's
guy
not on the field?
Who would be the guy that you think's made the biggest physical changes? I would personally say Kobe McKenzie. That would be
It'd
my
be
guy.
Kobe McKenzie or Jonah Laulu for me.
Well, I mean,
Didn't Kobe McKenzie lose weight?
Yeah,
What's he at now?
Well,
he looks,
Kobe McKenzie.
Kobe McKenzie came in. He basically had his I almost want to call it like baby fat, maybe. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but he just didn't have a college developed body. He still had
That's exactly correct. And what he had to do this offseason was get physically ready. That's what he did. And there's been people saying like Kobe McKenzie's at times looked like the best linebacker on that team. So that's another thing to watch. And then Jeremy mentioned it with Jaxon Arnold. I think it's going to be interesting because I think Jaxon Arnold's going to he's going to make an impact one way or another. And I mean, he has the athleticism. I think there's no question he's a better runner than Dylan Gabriel. So I'm wondering if
you won't see that at the spring game.
Well, I'm wondering if
Gabriel ran quite a bit last year.
Gabriel did run quite a bit. I wonder if they put in a Chandler Morris-esque package or a Kyler Murray-esque package for Jaxon Arnold because it would make sense to get him on the field every game, even if it's not.
I don't think Jaxon Arnold is quite the athlete of Chandler Morris, but he definitely is a lot more athletic than Dylan Gabriel.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's going to game
He's
ready.
a lot
he's
stronger
quite
than
an
Chandler
athlete.
Morris, though.
Hey, and Jeremy.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, Jeremy mentioned the throwing from the difference it'll be from Jaxon Arnold to Dylan Gabriel. I know Jay will not remember this because he was not there last year, but last year there was very high winds, and this year it looks like there's going to be high winds as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we did see quite a few balls sail from Gabriel last year.
are you calling me out for not being there?
That's what it sounds like.
Are you calling me out for not being there?
Well, did you remember the high wind?
Hey, I was there.
wasn't there.
I was there. Hunter was there. Jeremy and
Hey. We were all there. Hey, one thing that is different, though, and I know it's a minor thing, is the ball is spinning opposite direction out of Gabriel's hand than it is out of Arnold's on the spiral. So, I mean, I know it's a minor thing.
That whole thing is kind of interesting because Andrew Anthony says it doesn't really affect him. He says he likes it from a lefty with Gabriel.
Yeah, it's probably. I promise you, it's coming in a lot softer from Dylan here.
Yeah,
That's
that
probably why
to
I
me
like it a little
though.
more.
Yeah, but that to me, if you practice all year with the guy throwing to you, that shouldn't matter.
No, I always thought it was maybe an issue last year when we saw receivers like Mims who never drop passes all of a sudden
They
dropping.
practice all the
But
time.
the thing is the thing though, Dylan Gabriel, a lot of times because he's a left-handed quarterback, he's going to scramble out to the left, and if you're a right-handed wide receiver, it makes it harder to contort yourself to catch the ball quite a bit. So I would say that's something.
Yeah, and these are all minor things. Traber, you didn't get to say something you're looking forward to maybe Saturday.
I'm just really looking forward to seeing Austin Stogner.
Yeah, Stogner.
Yeah, we'll be.
Well,
I mean,
we'll
he's
see
got
how much
really good tight end.
I'll be interested. I wouldn't say they're going to play him a lot because he's the only tight end healthy. I mean,
Well, I mean, they'll have
Well,
to.
if he's the Jackson, if he's the only tight end healthy, don't they got to play a tight end?
They got to play him a lot. And what I'm interested to see with Stogner is how much they use him across the middle. I mean, he's 6'6". He's a big target. Just how much he's improved since the last time we saw him in Norman.
Yeah.
Weather looks pretty good for Saturday, other than high winds. I think it's not going to rain, right? Looks about low 70s.
No, it's low
Well,
60s. No.
well, I mean, who do you guys? So going into the spring game, do you guys maybe have a prediction about us? Who is your guys' defensive and offensive MVP for the game? Let's go ahead and give that. Hunter, you want to start?
I'd have
out?
to see the rosters for it first.
Oh,
What was
what?
that, Brody?
I'd have to see the rosters first.
Okay,
I'm gonna
I'll
go. I'm gonna go. I got one for you for offensive MVP, because I think this guy is kind of under the radar because he's young. Is Caleb Hicks?
See, for me, I have Gavin.
Caleb Hicks
Sawchuk.
is gonna.
I think Sawchuk is going to put on
Guys,
a show.
We know that
Sawchuk's a stud,
we know that
yeah.
Tawi Walker and Marcus Major will play out of their minds next
Yeah,
Saturday.
Colby Walker was great last year.
He was.
Great.
He's going to play out of his mind. I've already
Hey,
seen the practice.
well,
clips of him scoring.
we've heard him talk about more than we have Marcus Major from DeMarco Murray.
Hey.
Not too much to talk about, Marcus Major.
The two guys I think that are MVPs, Nick Anderson. Again, the footage I saw of that guy, he's a Greek god. His body he's a specimen.
Hey,
That
Jeremy.
dude has to have the rock. Second
Jeremy.
of all, on the defensive side, I'll tell you another guy who's just going to he's going to blow people's minds away on Saturday. Jared Canick.
Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Before I'm going to say my defensive, it's going to be Kobe McKenzie, but I want to ask you a question because you talk about Nick Anderson, and I remember last year you were all over the Nick Anderson hype too. How come we haven't really seen him?
He was hurt.
I know.
He was hurt
Even
last
with
year,
Holden.
dude.
He played in the Golden. He got a pass.
I agree with Jeremy. I'm just saying,
Jay, if you want me to get on, if you want me to go ballistic, you know what I'm going to start talking about? Why Nick Anderson did not get the ball much in that game, because Dylan Gabriel didn't get the ball to anyone. Okay,
Well,
it didn't matter.
Four wide
It
receivers.
didn't matter who we threw out there. He wasn't getting the ball to people.
Hey, I think what's very interesting, I heard Kerry Murdoch on the radio this week, practice reports and stuff, and he was talking about Jalil Farouk. He thinks Jalil Farouk could be a first-round pick.
I would 100% agree with that. I think he'd be
That's
a top. I think he'd be a top.
impressive. I mean,
I think he'd be a top 5 receiver in college football.
We
Didn't
thought
Brody
that
and I talked
after
about Farouk a lot
freshman
last year, Jay, and you were just like, he didn't have it all.
He's not the deep threat on this team, though. The deep threat, in my opinion, will be Andrew Anthony.
yeah, but
No,
one thing that
Jaden
Murdoch,
Gibson.
Well, I think
Jaden
that-
Gibson is a deep threat.
Gibson's got to see the field first.
I know.
yeah, but hey, what Murdoch
He's got
was
to catch the ball.
What Murdoch was saying, though, with Farouk is, you have your guys like, you think about in the past, you have Hollywood Brown. He was a stretcher of the field. You had maybe CeeDee Lamb was more across the middle, physical guy. He thinks Jalil Farouk kind of has everything. He can stretch the field. He can run the short routes. He's kind of that, Swiss Army knife and doing all.
That's
So-
what we thought after his freshman year.
Yeah.
His freshman year, he looked really promising. Last year it was still a solid year. It wasn't anything great, but he was definitely a guy when you looked at him after his freshman year, that guy's going to be a first-round pick, second round after 2 more years in college.
Mhm.
I'm going to give a bold take right now. OU is not going to miss Marvin Mims. I'm flat out going to say it. They're not going to miss him at all.
That's
And-
wild. That's wild.
What?
That's wild.
Why?
He's a great playmaker.
Is he a better playmaker than Farouk?
I would
remember the
say as
catches
of
he
right
made?
now,
Some of the
yeah.
catches?
Jeremy, the not gonna miss him part is a bit of a stretch, but I kind of I get what you're saying.
I know you agree with me, Brody.
Yeah, I get what you're saying when you're saying, and I think the wide receiver room will be better this year than it was last year.
For sure.
with Marvin Mims or not. And then, I mean, I think they certainly have the guys that can replace Marvin Mims and fill those shoes. It's just a matter of let me see it on the field first. I mean, because I know Nick Anderson physically looks ready. I know Andrew Anthony has the tools. I know Jalil Farouk can be a first-round draft pick, but I need to see it first. And, you know, I think people are underestimating what Drake Stoops is going to do this year. They're saying, well, we know what we're going to get from Stoops. I think this will be his best year by far, and I think he's probably going to, you know, I think he'll probably lead the team in receiving touchdowns if I had to guess right now.
Jaxon, I got a question. I got a question.
Wait, before you ask it, Jay, just let me get this out here for you guys to ponder. We don't have to talk about it, but the reason that Jaden Gibson hype train was so much is the spring game last year. He took that post. He ran that post route, guys, and it
was guarded by Joshua Eaton. Okay,
Not Walker.
I didn't say who he was guarded by. I'm saying everyone who watched that play said, "Oh my goodness, this guy." Okay, that's the reason the hype train was so much on him. He can stretch the field. There's no doubt about it. So anyway, know what you're going to ask.
My question was, it was on receivers too, Jaxon. What are your thoughts? And then maybe Hunter. I mean, Gavin Freeman. I mean, as a true freshman, he did see the field. I mean, obviously scored at the first touch time he touched the ball. Do you think he's going to get? You know, obviously, I think he'll get a little more run than last year. But how much of a role will he play on this year's team?
Well, I mean, I also think that through the first 3 games, we'll see a lot of guys rotated in and out and see who kind of performs the best in game. And so I'm not sure we can necessarily say how much certain guys are going to see this much action right now because they're still getting adjusted to Emmett Jones. They only have been with them for like 3 months now. It's not that long, really. And so, but I do think that Gavin Freeman will have an impact, and I actually do think he'll score. He will probably score a couple jet sweep touchdowns this year, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I agree with Jaxon on that. He'll have an impact. I think this year we are going to see a lot more rotation outside of just the first 3 games, like Jaxon said, just throughout the entire year, and I can see Freeman seeing the field a lot on times when someone like Stoops needs a breather, and then give him the opportunity to make a big play.
Yeah, I think we'll see Freeman as well. I think him and LV Bunkley Shelton will get work in the slot. But where it gets even more interesting with the wide receivers is, you know, talking about the transfer portal. Brennan Thompson from Texas, I mean, there's certainly a chance. I think he has a good relationship with Emmett Jones. There's certainly a chance the Sooners look to add another wide receiver in Brennan Thompson, and he's very, very fast. You never want to turn down a player with that much playmaking ability.
He's track star.
Yes, track star.
And
When he played this year, guys,
dude, I don't know if you guys have watched Caden Durham run, but Brennan Thompson is faster than Caden Durham.
Really? Caden Durham runs a 10.44.
Yeah, I think didn't Brennan Thompson run like was it a 10.29 or something like that?
I'll look.
It was something ridiculous.
he wouldn't play this
I
year.
heard he's faster than Salchuk.
He'd play this year. He is that speed sees the field one way or another, even if it's a kick.
I was
You're
going
right,
to say, maybe
Jack.
something like we've talked about before. Get these guys on the field in other ways. It doesn't have to be receivers.
What did he run, Hunter?
Brennan Thompson ran a 10.24.
Jeremy, you think that'll play?
That'll play.
Hey, Jeremy, what did Gentry and Jaden run? Do you remember?
They're in the 10s. I mean, no one was 10.24, I promise you.
That's
But you're also what's Brennan Thompson's size though? Because Jaden Rose a big dude.
Thompson's like 6'1".
I think
Yeah, but he's not.
I thought it was.
He's not very thick.
No, he still needs to fill out his frame.
Jaden Rowe was running an unbelievable time, and he's a thick dude.
And you mentioned Jaden Rowe. He's back at safety now.
Hey,
that's a better spot for him.
I agree. Hey, this is kind of we can almost maybe transition a little bit of this the portal opened, right? And we've seen some dudes all over the country. I mean, Texas had 2 or 3 enter the first day, and then obviously the big news today we saw, Bear, he entered Bear Alexander, man.
Money.
I don't. Does that make any sense at all?
No.
Money talks.
He's a projected top 10 pick at Georgia. They're going to probably win their 3rd consecutive national championship this year.
It makes no sense.
The
don't like
linemen at Georgia are guaranteed top 10 picks. Look at the past 5 years. They're all over the top 10.
Jaxon, Jaxon, you said money talks. I understand. He's getting paid at Georgia, let's be honest. And
Yeah,
also,
4.5 million.
Jaxon, playing at Georgia in that position, he's going to probably be the top 1 or 2 pick. If he goes to USC or something and has a bad year, it's going to drop his draft status.
Well, also the thing is, it doesn't make any sense why he would go to USC because they don't like defensive linemen that weigh more than 200.
Who said USC? Like,
No, that's
where are you hearing
I think
that?
one of his guardians was at the spring game today. I saw on Twitter, but Jaxon mentions it. They don't like their defensive lineman that big. I think he's 295 plus. So I don't know how that would work out. Maybe they put him in the Vinny Wiley program.
You have to do a lot of yoga and cardio.
But it doesn't make sense too, because if you're at Georgia, say you transfer and go to USC, which
or A&M
or A&M, say you're making
Texas.
$10 million more now. If you stay at Georgia, you could be top 10 pick and make way more than you'd make playing at Texas A&M.
Exactly.
So it's beyond me.
Guys, it had to be. There's something else we don't know, and I don't want to jump to conclusions. Something else that we do not know either, and it could be
Every time.
Well, explain it.
I can't explain it.
Okay, I can.
Jeremy,
Is
you're
that what you're
not wrong, but it's like okay, like obviously, it's kind of Captain Obvious.
Hey, has this
what
ever
were you
happened?
going to say, Jaxon?
What?
Give me your Captain Obvious picks then, Captain Obvious.
That there's obviously something he doesn't like about Georgia. There's something wrong. That's why he's entering the
Hey,
team.
I was
Dare I
going to
say
say
it?
the two things.
Hey, dare I say
I think it's something to do with one of the coaches there, that some kind of personality click, something was said, and he got irate and he's leaving, or there could be some bigger issues at Georgia.
Culture.
Some bigger, with some other things that happened there.
Defensive line.
Jeremy, you're
There has
probably
been
the
some other
worst.
things.
Did they hire a new defensive line coach? Georgia?
Not
Hey,
that I know of.
I don't
Hunter,
know.
what am I
This
the
is-
worst at?
You're like, you kind of like hint at a claim, and then you won't go into
He does that all the
detail.
time.
Yeah, he does
Hey.
it at school every day.
No,
Hey,
Oh,
let's be
Which
honest though.
reminds me of something, but I can't tell you. Can't tell you.
that's different.
Hey.
That's not a claim.
Sounds like
I don't
Brandon Drummond and
I don't have
recruiting,
solid.
dude.
I don't have solid evidence on this, so I can't really make a
Hey.
claim about Georgia. But
Hey, the fact of the matter is, nobody knows what's going on about it. But dare I say, is this, you don't see it ever happen like this where a person that's playing at that profile of school and is that big of a player leave, other than Caleb Williams leaving OU to go to USC. Jordan Addison.
Going to USC.
He was the Blitnikov.
Do you see a pattern there going to USC? So I think this one, I don't know why I do it.
Things that have changed in college
It makes no sense to go.
No, with players transferring now and recruiting, the NCAA passed a new rule where players can now take unlimited official visits.
Which
And I will start off by saying it is the most stupid thing the NCAA has done. One of them. The NCAA is a bunch of idiots, dude.
why do you say it's stupid? I just want your reason. Because I agree, but why do you say it's
It's going
stupid?
to affect so many schools because you look at a lot of these lower level schools. Like, for example, let's take Oklahoma State, okay? They're going to recruit these kids, and they're going to be able to take unlimited official visits. Oklahoma State, they don't have the most money for recruiting and stuff, so they can only host so many kids. And then they're going to host these kids, and it's almost like going to be a waste of time to host them. And the recruiting is going to hurt even more. And kids are now, for example, let's say you're a recruiter or something, and you want to go to Hawaii for fun, right? Well, you're not actually considering Hawaii, but if they want to pay for your official visit, you're getting a vacation paid for.
Yeah, but the thing that really hurts the most are a lot of the players that won't be able to fit in. It's almost like the transfer portal, how it's hurt recruiting, and you're going to have players that aren't going to get visits to schools because other players, right? That's where I kind of think it might hurt.
I just don't understand how the NCAA can keep taking steps backwards. Like anytime they make a rule change, it's never progressing. It's always taking 10 steps back.
It's why it needs a commissioner. I mean, that's
guys. I don't see too much of a problem with this rule change.
For who? The schools or for the players?
Both.
why?
You can only take one official visit to one school.
So, but a school can only host 56 officials now.
I know, but so what I'm saying though is you have players that are going to take a visit to every school because they can.
Exactly.
And then you're going to have players that aren't going to be able to take visits to that school because the school only has a certain amount of visits. They didn't change that.
No.
They changed it where the players could have however many, but they didn't change it where the school can have as many visits as they want, right? That's the way I understood it.
Yeah.
I don't see much of a problem. You can still take unofficials.
I
Yeah,
think
you can take
I
unofficial.
don't think it's a good rule.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the spring game next week. We'll talk about it more on our YouTube channel on Monday night. You can come in there, have any questions for us, want to talk some football, basketball, baseball, softball, whatever it is, just pop into our YouTube live. That'll be around 9-10 p.m. on Monday night. So subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications so that you know when that goes live. And guys, in our Sooner Surge text thread, we had some baseball know-it-alls. We got the die-hard Oklahoma baseball fan sitting right here. He knows everything it is about it. So Oklahoma baseball actually, they lost their first 2 games against Texas Tech in a huge series. What is the biggest problem with this team, and why did they lose those 2 games? Because I know you watched all 18 innings of those, actually all 19 innings of those 2 games.
I know you and Hunter are trying to get on me because today I texted out. But listen, I don't watch every pitch. I don't in baseball, but I can tell you, and I'd like for you to disagree with me if I'm wrong, but their pitching has not been good this year. Am I wrong?
Bullpen has not been good this year.
Their bullpen has not been good.
Hunter, go look at their earned run average. Right now, what is it?
Hey, plus bullpen is pitching, guys.
That's pitching.
No, but
the starting pitching has not been bad.
Yeah, the starting pitching hasn't been the problem.
Hunter, answer this question then. Why are they struggling this year? What's your reason?
I don't know.
Pitching or hitting?
I guess you could both. Jay, they're walking so many batters per game, and they're leaving.
Which is pitching.
It's mostly.
Jay, let me talk. They also leave over 10 runners on base every single game.
Agree.
I agree. It's both.
I agree. I just said their pitching was struggling this year.
Particularly the bullpen.
I'm just saying, when you're playing these 3-game series, they lost so much last year, especially in the pitch. They lost a ton of arms, man.
And Jay, I don't want to call you out, but I am going to call you out. You did the same thing with us on our text thread about the Oklahoma City Thunder, too. You watched 3 games all year, and you act like you know it all.
I never act like I know it all, but you know what? I can have an opinion about whatever I want to, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's free speech, buddy. So
that's true. But you were you just basically were texting like you've watched every.
I'm not going to claim that I have watched a lot of the baseball.
I've only watched 6 of the games, and I said that.
Yeah, and
to me, there's a lot of issues. There's too many to count on one hand. There's a lot of issues with this team. One is they have no timely hitting. From the games that I've followed, there's 0 timely hitting. They don't hit well when runners are on base. They leave so many runners. They've improved that in the last couple of weeks. Haven't left as many runners on base. That's one issue. The bullpen has been a major problem. And outside of that, the only other thing, in my opinion, it's been injuries. They've missed guys. They haven't had their exact lineup they want maybe all year.
True.
So those 3 things combined are 3 major things. Those are not minor things. Okay. Timely hitting is not minor. It's a huge part of the game of baseball.
Well, Dakota
bullpen
Harris
is a huge part of the game of the baseball. And then having your guys there, your dudes there, is a big deal. So I think Skip Johnson, the cupboard's been not near as full as he wants it. And if you asked him, he would be disappointed in probably how they've not been able to manufacture runs, which is what OU has done. That last year they manufactured runs. They had timely hitting. It's a lot like, I'm a Royal fan, 2015 Royals, how they won games. That's what they did. Okay.
Keep on moving.
And they're struggling doing that. And part of their is they don't have the guys. And when your bullpen is bad as OU's been, there is constant demand and pressure for one, the starters to deliver, and two, when you get runners on base, there's added pressure. You have to score them even more so because you know your bullpen's about to allow runs. So I just think all those things culminate into what's happened so far for the Sooners.
Well, I actually
They
have a
certainly-
question for Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, so OU, their motto is chaos, right? Have they had success creating havoc by stealing this year a lot, or
Yes
has it not
and
been?
no. They have, and then they've had games. K-State was a perfect example. A series that they were swept in. K-State shut down every single opportunity. OU's been one of the most aggressive base running teams in the country the past 2 years, if not the most aggressive base running team. And like against K-State, anytime they tried to stretch a single into moving the runner from first to third, they're throw out, stealing second, all that stuff. So they've had decent success this year. I have the stats right in front of me. So stolen bases, like as a team, we've stolen 70. That's pretty good. It's just Reggie Willicks, who makes the lineup daily. He's the hitting coach, former Sooner, former big leaguer, played for the Yankees. He's been moving the lineup around pretty much every single day as of right now, trying to figure out something. We've seen Kendall Pettis go from 9-hole to at 1.3. Today he was 4th in the lineup, trying to figure out how to prevent the runners left on. And today, really, that was not the issue. They only left 2 runners on base, but they only recorded 5 hits as a team. Can't do that to win against – you're playing a top 20 team in the country in Texas Tech. And it's starting to get to the point – I like that Braden Carmichael is now in the weekend rotation. He's going to pitch tomorrow because the only midweek that matters from here on out – I got the schedule behind me – is Oklahoma State this week. Other than that, it's all non-conference games. Those games mean absolutely nothing at this point because OU's sitting at 18-18 right now, 3-8 in conference play. You have to finish in the top 8 to make it to Arlington for the Big 12 tournament.
1.5 games back of Baylor, who's in 8th.
Yeah. So, and Baylor has every tiebreaker needed because they won the series 2-1. We're at the point where the only chance OU can make the tournament is if they win the Big 12 tournament. That's it. They will not make the postseason unless they can. Again, last year we were in the same position. The biggest difference is that team had 3 MLB draft picks in the starting weekend rotation, and the entire bullpen was drafted in the draft as well. So, and we don't have that. We have. Yeah, I think the 3 guys are going to get drafted. I really think they will. Braxton Dothit's a really good pitcher. His only issue has been walks. He gets his pitch count up. Last week against Baylor, he was only able to go 4 innings because he threw 83 pitches. In 4 innings, he had like 6 walks. That's his only issue. He's not allowing – now today was a outlier kind of performance.
And some of that wasn't on him. There was an error in left field when you have the
2 errors.
loaded.
Rocco, great freshman, Rocco Garza-Gongora. It's just in left field. I don't know what the problem is. He was always solid at first base. I think that's where they need to leave him if they're going to put him in the field. Now you have Dakota Harris back, so that moves McKenzie back to first. Kendall Pettis needs to be in the outfield every day. Unless there's an injury going on, which he had like a spider bite that kept him out of a few games a while back. You have to keep him in the field. Look at him last year. He was part of the reason we made it to Omaha because of his defensive plays. He made the catch into the bullpen, all that stuff. You got to keep guys like that in the field because right now, especially with the bullpen, they're giving up hits. You have to have the 3 best outfielders you can possibly have in the field at all times. It's just hopefully they can figure out how to not leave so many runners on base. And Jackson Nicholas, 3-run bomb today. He's the streakiest hitter on the team. When he gets hot, he is soaring hot. Hopefully that can continue. It's just you got to start winning these games. You don't need a sweep. You need to win. You got to avoid the sweep. You just need to win 2, which they're not doing this weekend. You need to beat Oklahoma State, which I don't know who's going to pitch in that because Will Carson came out of the pen today.
Will Davis, he came out of the pen today.
Yeah, well, how many pitches did he have?
He looked pretty solid out of
He
the
had
pen.
9 pitches. Yeah.
So maybe they put him up against his former team.
I don't think he will start. I'll be shocked if he does.
No, he won't start.
Gray Harrison?
Yeah, I think it's a Gray Harrison type of game. How many pitches did Carson have? Carson had 45, so that's a decent amount. We probably won't see him as a starter for that game.
Well, and you talked about it last year. They were in pretty much the same position. They got hot. You mentioned Jaxon Nicholas is streaky. They need him along with his 2 fellow sophomores and John Spikerman and Wallace Clark to get hot. I think there's no doubt in my mind they certainly have the bats to make a run this year and get to the postseason. But again, it comes down to the bullpen. They need a Cale Davis to step up. They need just a bunch of different people to step up out of the bullpen, which I think would really help us.
The biggest thing is, regardless if the offense gets hot right now, your pitchers are going to have to go 7 innings every single game.
Mm-hmm.
You can only have 2 innings out of the bullpen with this bullpen. Because at times they're great. Carter Campbell is probably the best guy out of the pen, but he's also struggled really bad at times. There's been many times where he gets lit up. It's just and Skip, one thing that I have not liked this year with him is he's trying to do the kind of the tough love thing with these pitchers on letting them work their way out of it. They're just, you can't do that. That's costing games. You gotta, when they're starting to give up hits, you gotta pull them. There's no 3-batter minimum. Got to get them out of there.
Well, and talking about pitching, I mean, kind of transfer over this. I brought up how bad the pitching I think's been, but the softball team pitching, it's a totally different animal. I mean, softball, that's a machine. I mean, we had the thing. I know, Jeremy, we talked about it the other day, and I said that I do think they are going to lose another game. You said no way, I believe. But I think they will have one more loss probably. But this team, if they don't win the national championship, I think everybody will be disappointed. I mean, they're just so good and so much better than everything else.
Yeah, and it's just like I know that I talked about this with Jeremy a couple episodes ago whenever we did the softball, was that the one concern I had was that Jordy Ball, she was struggling, but now Jordy Ball isn't struggling. She dropped her ERA from 2.6 to I think it's 1.2 something now. I mean, you talk Jordy Ball right now is hottest pitcher in the country. She really can't be hit. We saw against LSU on national television. She threw 140 pitches, I believe, 130, absolutely dominated them. And really, they haven't even had to use Storako lately at all. So they're kind of just saving her for the postseason, it seems like at this point.
I mean, she went 3 1/3 today, and then Kirsten Deal, the lefty freshman, came on and looked good in relief. Yeah, they got 3 studs. 3 studs on the mound. They got the bats. They're so deep. They've got so many girls. They're unreal, just about as unreal as the women's gymnastics program there.
Yeah, speaking of the women's gymnastics team and the women's basketball team, they got transferred from Oklahoma State. I don't know if you guys saw that. Lexi Keys is her name. I mean,
I saw that.
How often does Oklahoma get transfers from Oklahoma State? I mean, you think that
football, Trace Ford,
baseball,
Trace Ford, Cale Davis. I think there was one other football player that may have transferred.
Well, what the women's gymnastics team has done, it's 6 out of 9.
Yeah,
6 out of 9. That's a dynasty. And, they went back to back. Softball could go back to back to back. I mean, they're just kind of dominating. The men's team tonight, I think, finished 4th in gymnastics.
Kind of dominating.
They are dominating.
I did say dominating.
You said
kind of.
Oh, you're grammatically – I know you're an English teacher and you have to point out every little thing. But, yeah, I did.
Well, actually, I haven't pointed out everything. I could point out a lot more. But speaking of the transfer portal, where OU's not getting anyone is the place they never get anyone.
And, Jeremy, this is not the time to
Quarter Mother Hate session begins.
Hey,
okay, here we go.
No, wait, before we start with this basketball stuff, all right? I mean, me and Brody are here together tonight.
Brody and I.
What?
Yeah,
Brody
Brody
and
and I. That's fair. I know
What did
that.
he
He
say?
said you said me and Brody. You're supposed to say Brody and I. Well,
All
go
right,
ahead.
never mind.
Wait,
Never mind.
before we get into it real quick, we talked about baseball and softball. If you don't watch every baseball game, you don't watch all the softball games, go to Surge Sports Network and you can find game recaps, series recaps, whatever it may be, with all kinds of Oklahoma sports. We got everything on the site: football, softball, basketball, baseball, and then we also got other things like the all kinds of different sports, all kinds of different teams. And then make sure you go check out our YouTube. We've been having different videos on there. Jeremy and Braden recently talked about the softball weekend. Hunter and I have talked about baseball a couple times. And then Jaxon and Jason are doing all kinds of different football content. So again, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, turn on the notifications. Like I said earlier, we will be going live on Monday night. Hop in there, comment, and so talking about basketball with the transfer portal, this has been a very big weekend for Oklahoma. Despite what the Auburn fans on Twitter might tell you, they had a big-time recruit in Johan Traore, who is the former 5-star, coming in this year, predicted to be a NBA draft pick. He's like 6'10", very, very athletic, which will help this team. They've had him in town. Javon Small, he's been in town.
Hey,
Wait, you act like you said which will help this team. He's not a Sooner.
yeah,
Let me continue to talk here because I've been told
Which could help this team.
And let me continue to talk, Jeremy. I really like Oklahoma's chances with Johan Traore. I think you may see a commitment in the next week. It's between Oklahoma and UC Santa Barbara. He was in Oklahoma this week for a visit, has a great relationship with Sooner star point guard Milos Uzan. And then you have Javon Small, who that's going to be an Oklahoma State battle. He's currently visiting Oklahoma. Will visit Oklahoma State later this week on Sunday and Monday. Javion McCollum visited last weekend. He's the electric guard from Siena. Very, very good sophomore. He'll be a junior next year. He's visiting Nebraska this week. That's going to be between Oklahoma and Nebraska. You can expect a decision from both Small and McCollum. And then Jonathan Hugley from Pitt. This is a guy who averaged 14 points and 7 rebounds, not last year, but the year before. Last year, he struggled with injury, didn't really get it to click, hit the portal. But he's very good. He's like 6'10". I'd kind of compare him to an Eddie Lampkin. He's athletic. Can't really shoot from three, but he's very good in the post.
So bad.
Okay, you say what you want about him, but
he's not athletic.
Hugley is between Oklahoma.
Hughley. Is that Hugley or Hughley?
Hugley. It's between Oklahoma.
Oh, correct him, Jay.
And then West Virginia. The thing that's interesting about that, he's scheduled to visit West Virginia in the next 2 weeks. I don't actually think he'll visit West Virginia. I'd expect him to commit to Oklahoma pretty soon because West Virginia is in contact with one of the best big men in the portal, Jesse Edwards from Syracuse. So
I get Jeremy down there. He's
despite what big weekend for Oklahoma basketball in the portal.
Did you guys notice what I noticed from all those names, Jeremy?
Well, I know
they all have one thing in common.
They're not very big-time players.
They're running away from Norman as fast as they can get away from Porter Moser. None of them are coming to OU.
Hey, I just don't know how Brody can continually say, I expect him to be a Sooner. Listen, Brody, let's just say they land 3 of those guys. They still don't have a full roster.
Huh?
How many?
I mean, you get more guys on the transfer.
If they land all four, they will have 2 more open roster spots.
They're not going to land all 4. You're not.
So they're going to have a lot of open roster spots, Brody.
The only guy
you got to get more guys.
Out of that group will be Javon Small. I think he'll go to Oklahoma State. The only guy I think that they won't get will be the small kid from East Carolina.
Hey,
well, that depends. I think you get one of Small or McCollum right now.
Brody, the guy that you said at the beginning, Traore. You said he's going to be an NBA guy, and you said it's between us and UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
That's sad.
He's also been no. UC Santa Barbara's pursuing the hardest besides us. He's reached out to by Michigan, Tennessee, all kinds of different teams.
But he's going to go to OU or UC Santa Barbara.
And I'll tell you why he's going to go to OU. He's a great relationship with Milos Uzan, and from what I've been told, Johan Traore wants to go somewhere where he can be the guy. UC Santa Barbara wants him to be the guy. Oklahoma wants him to be the guy alongside former high school.
Brody, he can't be the guy at OU.
Why?
Porter Moser doesn't have a guy in his system. They don't play that kind of
That's why he's going to come in and be the guy.
Hey, where's Dickinson? Where's the guy from Michigan going probably?
Kansas.
So my point is, big time players go to big time universities.
And this is a big time player.
Hey,
And he's going to go to
like a
UC
five-star
Santa
hey,
recruit, top 20.
first off, Jeremy, I got
Okay.
some questions for you and Hunter here, because
Bring it.
especially you, Jeremy.
I'm not scared.
I'm not saying you're scared.
I'm going to state facts. Ask him.
I know we had our arguments the whole season about guys like Bijan Cortez, Noland, Bamasil for sure.
Yeah, and
Who was the other one? There was one more. Oh, maybe that was it.
Tanner Groves.
Where did they all transfer to?
Lower level schools. They were all
Lower level schools.
They all went to the A-10, except for Benny's not in the
They
A-10.
went to mid majors.
You're so funny.
I'm asking. Listen. Let me finish.
Oh,
my
you're
question.
telling me that Porter Moser likes to get an A10 talent? That's
No, let me finish my thing. So those guys there, would they have been better off with those guys staying, you think, or better off
Yes.
going to the portal? You think
They've
they'd
been
been better off
with them staying.
You'd be better off with Bijan Cortez or your starting shooting guard. Shooting guard. That's what you wanted?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and watch.
Bijan Cortez is a
mean-
pretty good player.
Compared to
Not a
what,
starting shooting guard in the Big
Hey.
12, but
so compared to what we currently have, which is not going to have a team, yeah, it's a lot better if these guys would have stayed. We have to land someone in the portal first. You can
that's
say
what we're doing this
going to.
weekend, bringing in
We're
tons
going
of
to.
guys.
We're
Hey,
going
Brody,
to.
Brody,
No,
who
we're not.
recruited
No one wants to
Cortez?
play for Moser.
Lon Kruger.
Okay. When he was highly recruited out of Oklahoma.
He wasn't highly recruited.
I think he's a good player, Jeremy. I really do.
Brody, look it up. He was a high recruit in the state of Oklahoma.
What do
One
you
of the top
call
5
Yeah,
guys.
he was
Dude.
3-star.
Bijan Cortez.
Classified
Bijan
3-star,
Cortez.
highly recruited.
He's a
In
good
the state of Oklahoma, he was a top 5 guy, dude. Know your basketball.
Yeah, but look who
3-star.
else was in
Hey,
that class, dude.
He's a good player, dude. I'm not
He's
arguing
not-
that.
But he's
Hey,
not
Brody,
a shooting
and-
guard in the Big 12. Would Bijan Cortez start at any school in the Big 12? No. That's your answer.
Hold on.
Guys
Well,
don't-
Okay,
speaking of kids in the state of Oklahoma, Brody, since you followed the recruiting, does Oklahoma have a chance to land Castillo on Tuesday?
No,
night?
he's going to
He's
K-State.
going to K-State.
Traber follows his recruiting. He's committing when? When's he committing?
Tuesday.
He's
Yeah,
going to
K-State.
K-State.
Hey, but all I'm saying is this: your biggest complaint, Hunter, Jackson, and Jeremy, all year was like, OU with Porter Moser, they're never going to get to the next level. Guys, they weren't going to get to the next level with what they had, were they?
No.
Who recruited
I never
Bamasil?
said that
Okay,
all the time. I said I was always going to wait till year 3.
Okay, so if
I complained about the same issues.
I
okay,
agree.
if nothing improves this year, are you guys still going to defend Moser?
No.
Listen, Hunter, I've said it before.
Yeah.
This
But
is his
he has
year.
he has
No.
a whole opportunity now to build him this team that he desperately needs, because apparently these guys, Jeremy said it before, they can't walk and chew gum at the same time, because that's what you guys make these players seem like.
That's not
And
true,
now that
Hunter.
they're all gone, well,
That's
now
not-
you have
Jalen
an
Hill is going to be at
opportunity.
Kansas. So
Jeremy, you want to know why Jalen Hill's going to be at Kansas? Because he got offered 50 plus. But
Brody, do they offer a guy 50,000 if he's not any good?
Jeremy, you said that we
No,
ran.
Brody, answer the question. Would
No, he's a
Kansas
good
offer
player.
him if he was bad?
But Jeremy, you said on our last podcast that Porter Moser ran Jalen Hill off.
That is one of the reasons he's
And
leaving.
that is exactly the complete opposite of what happened. If Lon Kruger, any head coach, was at Oklahoma with the NIL that is in place at Oklahoma, Jalen Hill would be doing the same thing he's doing. They can't even get
Well,
Hey,
That's
that Jalen Hill thing, though, I'm confused on it, because I could have swore we saw Jalen Hill driving around in a 4Runner when
Yeah.
we were at the game. I'm pretty sure that was Jalen Hill leaving the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Hey,
know about what that thing that was said, but
Jackson
all I
said it
know is,
earlier in Money
Brody,
Talks.
Where
I'm
did
going
y'all
to
see
name, I'm
that
gonna
he
name
was
some
not
guys,
driving a
Brody.
Because money does talk.
Hey,
I wouldn't
Jay.
be shocked if he's leaving because NIL.
Yeah,
That's Porter Moses' fault.
Yeah.
Bad NIL.
we saw
Oh my gosh.
we
Porter
saw
Moser
him.
can't pay the players out of his pocket, dude.
Didn't say, but he could build NIL.
Jay,
How?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Venables is.
Oh,
Yeah,
because
Hunter.
the football team is donors. A basketball
we
team
saw him.
years.
You know how we saw him driving around?
Here we go.
Because we were at the game.
Hey,
Hey, Brody.
Wait,
Brody,
wait,
I'm
hold
going
on.
to name some names for you,
Hunter.
Brody. I want
Yeah.
to name some names for you.
Name them.
Is it true that Jay's trying to get out of going to the spring game again
No.
this year?
Hey,
no.
Trades,
not
help me
true.
out here, but
You
I'm going to
need to
name
get
some
out of
names
going.
for you.
Wait, Jeremy, we're listening.
Tanner Groves. Who recruited him?
Moser.
Jacob Groves?
Moser.
Alston?
Kruger.
Moser. Well, that was
You mean
No.
Alston,
It
Jason?
was late. It was a
He
late.
13th minute.
Okay.
He was the 13th
Supposed to be a
roster spot.
stud, y'all said. Actually, he's doing pretty good where he's at. Bamasil?
Moser.
Okay. Cortez?
Moser.
No, Cortez wasn't.
Or-
No, that was
Nolan?
Kruger.
Kruger.
Okay. And yet every guy I've mentioned, and there's more, Jalen Hill. Every
Leave
guy
out. Go ahead and leave out. Go ahead and leave out Milos Uzan, Otego Way, Caden Cooper, and Jacob Cole, the 4 straight top 100 players he signed. Go ahead and leave.
I have not seen Jacob Cole or Caden Cooper on campus yet. Have you?
Top 100. It's great.
Top
recruiting.
100
Have you seen him
Top
yet,
100
Brody?
recruiting talks.
Brody, was Benny Schroeder top?
Huh? No, Benny Schroeder wasn't a top 100 recruit.
Brody, you act like Benny Schroeder was going to be
He
great.
has potential.
He has a very high
He has
ceiling.
potential.
Why'd he leave?
Yeah, I just don't like how you're naming players, but you just leave out the ones that Moser hit on. You
Yeah,
can't like Milos Uzan
No,
is
can't-
an extremely good find.
Brody, you interrupted me. I haven't even finished. My point is, all the guys I said are gone, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because they're not players at Oklahoma. Tanner Groves ran out of eligibility. Joe Bamasil, I don't know what the case was, but it didn't.
Hey,
work out. Who else?
Joe
did you name?
Bamasil was at a small university. Why did he go get him then?
Huh?
Why did he go get Bamasil?
Huh?
He
I don't
might
know.
have thought he could've worked out.
But that's the thing.
Bamasil could have worked out.
But I talked about it in my
He could
article
not have.
when I
His
recapped
shot
the
was
whole
like a
season.
missile, dude. His shot had less arc than Draymond Green's.
I
Yet
talked about it when
he shot 40% in the school he was previously from
Different
3-point.
level of play.
I talked about it in the article I wrote after
It's-
the season ended. when I
Shooting
wrapped
has
it up.
nothing to do with level of play.
It really does.
Yeah, it does.
Not shooting.
Boy, Mojo Gibson experienced that.
What
this
do
year,
you
but I
say?
talked about
Hey,
it.
how did he do the 3-point shootout?
Oh, by the way, Grant Sherfield's another one, isn't he?
How did
Well,
he?
that's my point. I talked about it in the
He was
article.
not that bad of a player, dude.
I talked about it. Moser has gotten Jordan Goldwire, Grant Sherfield, Tanner Groves, but he hasn't hit on any of them. That's the problem right now. You're getting guys out of the portal. You're just not hitting on them.
And
Joe Bamasil
why
didn't
is this
hit on
year
them.
going to be different, Brody?
Huh?
Why is
Well,
this year
I don't
going to
know.
be
He has to hit on the portal guys. That's what.
Who's the best portal guy he's gotten? Jordan Goldwire.
Yes. I
You
think
know
Probably
why?
Sherfield.
the two guys I would say that
No.
Moser has hit on out of the portal is Sam Godwin and Ethan Shagwar.
No, I'd say Jordan Goldwire. But where was Jordan Goldwire from? Dude, why can't we go get big-time players?
We're getting a big-time player. 5-star.
Who?
5-star from Auburn.
I'm not
Who?
too aware. I just read Twitter replies, and I heard on Twitter that he's not any good.
Well, those Auburn fans have been in my replies all
Yeah.
day long. I don't know what the deal is. Hey, it tells me something when a player leaves your school and you're in the replies of it.
Yeah, there
Random
was that
tweet.
one guy, 2.9 points per game, said it about 30 times.
Said it about 30 times when it just went over his head that they had. I mean, he's talking to me. He's like, you clearly haven't watched basketball. Have you not watched any games? He would not be what y'all. Exactly right, he hasn't been. We've had a bunch of slow guys, unathletic.
Well, also, people said that you compared him to Trae Young, which is not true.
And I said in the tweet, he would be the
All
biggest
right.
recruiting win since. And that's true because Oklahoma hasn't landed a 5-star since Trae Young.
Jeremy Hunter, Porter Moser has to make the tournament this year. Or he's fired, I think. Okay,
Well, yeah.
so regardless, he's got to hit on these transfer guys. But what I think is funny is you always mention the guys that leave, but y'all never mention the two best players on the team at the end of the last year were Otega Away and Milos Uzan, were they not?
yeah,
Uzan
only
for
won
sure.
5 games.
But both of those
Uzan
guys,
for sure was, Jay. I agree
both
with
of them,
Uzan.
Jay,
both
how
of
many
them were
games
playing
did he
really
win
good
in
at the end of
Big
the year.
12?
Why?
I just
Why
think
did it take
sometimes
so
you
long
think
to
about
play it?
why do you always think about the guys that leave and not about the guys that stuck around? Maybe they like Porter Moser.
Two
They
guys did.
stayed. So they
Two out of the
stayed.
9.
What?
2 out of the 9.
Well, he recruited them. That's the difference, Jeremy.
He recruited Benny Schroeder, didn't he?
Okay, maybe one or two, but the rest
That
of them he
wasn't all
didn't.
Moser. That was mostly what's his name? David Patrick, who was mostly.
But there's my point, Brody and Jay. You always have an excuse.
I don't have.
I don't have an excuse for Joe Bama, so I don't have an excuse for why Grant Sherfield.
Well, Jay, they didn't recruit. Mosley didn't recruit Uzan.
Why did Max A miss Levo? Are you?
Hey, wait, Jay, they
All
didn't
right,
recruit
answer the
Uzan.
question.
No, they didn't recruit.
Answer the
Uze.
question.
His coach left.
Yeah, because his coach left.
So it's a different coach he'd be playing for?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between Nolan and Cortez and all these guys?
Well,
They
they
played
stuck
for most of
around with them, and then
but
now
they
leave.
didn't sign to play for
Because
him.
The difference
there's
between
much
Joshua
chance they
Eaton
didn't like him.
Oklahoma football than CJ Nolan leaving Oklahoma basketball.
What's the difference in who?
Joshua Eaton leaving Oklahoma football and CJ Nolan leaving Oklahoma basketball.
Joshua Eaton. What?
Yeah.
Why is Joshua Eaton the comparison?
You know why? Because he was signed to play under a different staff, stuck around a year under BV, and then transferred. What's the difference?
Oh, so were a lot of other guys too.
Yeah.
And what's the difference?
Well, one difference is Eaton never played a down.
Yeah, but you didn't say this.
Wait, what
David
about
Agwebu.
David Agwebu.
You didn't say this when he left. You didn't say, I can't, it must be Venables. Must be Venables.
Yeah, must be Venables, huh?
I mean,
Okay.
guys, we're complaining about them losing a bunch of players who
Jason
didn't really
and
do
Brody, you guys are the biggest ridiculous people making that comparison. Here's why. David Agwebu saw the writing on the wall. He wasn't going to play. CJ Nolan was a starter, bro.
Bijan Cortez saw the writing on the wall.
CJ Nolan was not going to start next year. I would put $1,000 he would not start.
Theo Weiss started for Oklahoma football. He transferred. Theo Weiss actually had a very
Theo Weiss was a 5-star talent.
I don't
The
understand.
reason why
I
Theo
don't
Weiss
understand.
was not near as good was because he kept on having this.
All I'm saying is the transfer
time
portal has changed the game on basketball and football. If people aren't happy, they can leave.
Okay,
What's
but
wrong with that?
I don't understand why you guys are like all writing this up like, oh, he's already hitting the portal and he hasn't. That's the truth. That's why we're upset.
I didn't say
Because
it.
almost the entire team left, and currently we have no one to replace them. So you can't say that, guess what? Bad players are better than no players.
No, that's why this week was a big week. We'll see. If he doesn't hit, then yeah, they're in trouble. I agree, Hunter.
I just want to see him land a guy.
I mean, we're on a downward trajectory with Moser. We're going to win 3 games next year in Big 12.
Oh my gosh, Hunter. Wait, you are unbelievable, dude.
Okay. At least
You
I'm
are
not a
absolute-
fan.
You're
I'll
the most
still watch 'em.
unbelievable.
Hey, Jay, I'll still watch them when they suck. I will.
Will you? Will you? Did you watch him the other night? Did you watch him at the end of the year last year?
Who?
Yeah.
Did you?
Who?
Yeah.
Did you?
Did you? Are you a Thunder fan, Hunter?
Yeah.
Did you watch him the other night in the playoff game?
When I got off work, yeah.
All of it?
When I got off work, yeah.
What? Did
Jay,
you?
I don't understand your comparison on anything.
Jay, I wish my job allowed me to just not have to do my
Okay,
job.
but this man has been gone all week.
I've looked about. Hey, how many hours did you work this week, Hunter?
13.
Try 75. Okay.
Cool.
That's why
Hey.
I've been working. So
Hey,
Yeah, I also spent a half of my day in the ER. I also,
Wait,
go
really?
to school every day, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I guess I could account for 75
Dude,
hours.
no, last like 3 weeks I've gone to school and worked 15 hours, okay?
hey, regardless of all this, Porter Moser and Brody, you won't admit it because you never can. The fact that you keep saying I expect things, just admit he's done nothing this over the portal yet.
He hasn't, except bring pretty solid players in for visits. He hasn't landed them yet, you can bring him in for visits. It doesn't matter if you don't land them. So that's what.
Just tell me why the Traore guy would go to OU. Tell me why. One reason.
because of Uzan.
Milos Uzan.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
the whole reason.
Even though if he's an NBA guy, he would get tons of money to go somewhere else.
Huh?
He would get tons of money to go somewhere else, correct?
He wants to go be the guy. He wants to be one of the top guys. That's how he develops himself.
If you're an NBA guy, you would be the guy in college.
Well, look at that face. Look at that face he gave.
Go look
Hey.
at the draft. There's not 89, 100, 200 guys being drafted. There's like 58.
Hey, before we get off here though, I got a question for Jeremy. When was the last time you went to Chick-fil-A?
I went to Chick-fil-A.
That you ate Chick-fil-A?
I don't know.
The reason I ask is I've boycotted it, okay? And no, Jeremy, I don't know how you can afford it. That place is unreal.
Jay,
It's insane.
Jay,
Everywhere.
you should be able to afford it. You're working 75 hours a week.
I'm
That's a
salaried,
lot of
buddy.
money.
Hey, Jay, everywhere's expensive. Have you looked around?
Okay, but how much do you think a not a bowl of soup, a cup of
I've already
soup?
heard this
It's
story.
just like
happened
$5.
like
Doesn't
3
make
weeks
sense.
Cup
ago.
of-
Same story you tell
Hey,
all the time.
it's not like it came out of nowhere. There's
Jeremy,
a thing
I
on the
want you to
menu.
guess the price.
It has 3 numbers, and it's under the food item. You look and you read it. Not
Cup of soup.
complain after.
Yeah,
Cup of soup.
He just buys it and then looks at the
No.
receipt after he buys it.
$7.99.
Cup of soup and a frosted lemonade. There is
Yeah,
no
let-
reason that should be $12.50.
It is in
That's
2023.
wild.
It is, Jay.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Chick-fil-A's got to be the most overrated chicken restaurant I've ever seen in my life.
Here we go again. This is always the way.
Dude, what chicken is Cane's
is.
better?
No.
Well, it's midnight, so they're not even
Dude,
open.
Hold on. I've
Sunday.
something to say. Over the last few weeks, I have eaten Chick-fil-A and Cane's, okay? I finally did the comparison. I used to like Cane's more, but I can now say that Chick-fil-A is way better. Like, I
See, I
switched.
feel the same way. Cane's is really close to Chick-fil-A in my opinion.
Cane's just, it's kind of
Cane's
ruined.
is-
the-
Well,
Jay, do you
Cane's
not
is
go to
awful.
McDonald's anymore?
I don't ever eat McDonald's.
I don't really like feathers on my chicken, so I don't go there.
Well, I'm not asking if you eat chicken from there, but like, do you go to McDonald's?
You do.
I'll eat a burger every once in a while.
He goes to Sonic.
I can't believe you go there because it's so expensive. there.
Hunter, do you know how much a
Hey,
burger is?
hey,
Yeah.
$1.57.
Yeah, because
No, it is not.
Yeah.
Hunter,
Every week.
this is what you don't know. Anytime I ask him, "What'd you eat for lunch today?" It's either Sonic Junior Bacon Burger or whatever.
I've
or
never eaten Sonic ever in my life.
Sonic Junior Burger or McDonald's Junior Burger.
Wait, Jay.
Jay, I want to know what burger.
Jay,
One-
Jay, hold on. I have a question. Do you ever get a Frosty from Wendy's?
I haven't had a Frosty in years. Why?
What? I was gonna say the best thing to do is to dip your French fries in a Frosty. It's so good.
I've heard it's good, but hey, McDonald's burger is $1.57 here.
Where?
That's just
Where?
a regular
Hey,
burger.
Hunter, it's because he doesn't get anything with it. He just gets
No,
the
but
burger.
like I get a cheeseburger now.
I'm going to
like
call
just
him right now. I'm going to
The
order right
basic,
now.
the basic cheeseburger, and not only has it went up in price,
I'm calling him right
it's
now.
now
We're gonna
smaller.
find
It's
out.
3 bites. So if you have a burger for $1.50, it's probably a 1-bite burger.
Wait, we're calling McDonald's. What is the order?
Oh
we're trying
crap! Jay will chicken out just like in the spring game.
A cheeseburger plain. How much is a cheeseburger?
All right, y'all be quiet.
It's not $1.50.
He won't say anything.
Mute your mic.
The McDonald's.
Yeah, how late are y'all open tonight?
We're open until 1.
Till 1. Okay, and it's like on the just a regular burger. How much is just a regular hamburger? Do you have it?
It's a regular hamburger. It's going to be. The hamburger is going to be like $149 before tax.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
About
What did he say? 149?
Dude, how
So,
much
Jay,
does
so
it cost
Jay,
here? Should
I promise you.
cost here, Jay?
It's the same price there, bro.
Jay,
You don't
is.
live in Germany.
$3.
Good gosh. You live in
Jay,
the state over.
Jay, how do you go to McDonald's and not like get fries or a drink?
Was that the
or
question?
anything like that?
I get a burger because I don't want to spend $12. I get a $1.57 burger.
So you
Hey,
get
Jay.
one burger and that fills
Hey.
you up.
You know
One
why you're
burger from
hypocritical, Jay?
McDonald's.
Hey, Hunter,
Jay.
I usually don't even eat lunch. That's once a week I'll get that.
Hey, Jay, are you listening? You know why you're
Yeah, I am.
hypocritical? If you get a burger and you get like a McFreeze and something else, it might be $12. So next time you go to Chick-fil-A, don't get a frosted lemonade, dude. Just get a
Yeah,
get a
that's like
2-strip kids
$5
meal.
lemonade.
Yeah,
Get
their
the
kids'
two
meals are
Jeremy,
$7.
Jeremy.
No,
What is
just
a
get a
McFreeze?
2-strip by itself. It's
Jeremy,
$3.50.
what is a McFreeze? I've never
Hey,
heard
Jay,
of it.
a
What's your order at
$7.
Chick-fil-A?
What?
What's your order at Chick-fil-A, Jeremy?
I always just get a 5-count kids meal so I can get a free
How
ice
many
cream.
times a week do you actually make the order, or do you just walk in there and they already know what you want?
I order it every time. dude.
No,
Can you get a kid's
sometimes
meal at your age?
in the drive-through, sometimes we'll go there and they'll just start saying his name. They'll be like, "Sup, Jeremy?"
But I still order, so I don't care.
Do
And
they
I think
give
we're
you a
done.
kid's meal at
ask
your
for
age?
the usual sometimes.
You're yelling, dude.
Do they give you a kid's meal at your age, Jeremy?
Yes.
They give you one when you order it.
Dude, don't you order like from Sonic J like a junior?
All I know is we got a good restaurant here, fast food now. Culver's, baby. Y'all
Oh,
had
we
it?
love Culver's.
Culver's is so good.
Culver's.
We love Culver's. Every time we go to Missouri, we go there. Butterburger.
Dude, a good
And
place
that's and that's way
probably
more expensive than McDonald's. So
Jay,
Than McDonald's, yeah.
Jay,
Yeah.
Jay, do you want to know how expensive Charlie's chicken is, dude? For 7 chicken chunks and 2 sides with no drink, it's $17 at our restaurant.
Dang.
$17.
Jay doesn't understand inflation.
Hey,
I
where
think
are
we're
we
done
going to
here,
eat next
guys.
week in Norman then?
Rudy's.
We'll figure it out. You guys drop some
I don't
comments
know.
on where we should eat in Norman next week.
I kind of want to go somewhere that's not Rudy's. Like that's where we go every single time.
Drop it in the comments, guys. Some local place in Norman.
Fast food. It's got to be fast food.
Fast food.
Yeah, well,
Why?
Why does it have to be fast food, Jay?
why?
I'm not going to go. Hey, you know what's crazy is one of my favorite restaurants to go to is Chipotle. Chipotle is cheaper than Chick-fil-A. That's unreal. Fresh ingredients, huge.
All right. Hey,
Jeremy, have you ever gotten a bowl at Chipotle?
Hold on.
Yes,
How do you know
bowl.
that Chipotle is always fresh, Jay? That's what I want to know. How do you always know?
I get a bowl, Jay. Let's
I can't hear you.
Kirby, do you go to Daylight more than you go to Chick-fil-A for breakfast?
Yes. Well,
Traber
he
does.
doesn't. I hate it.
I know. I eat Twinkies.
My mom's like, all right, we're eating daylight donuts again for breakfast for the 50th
Hey,
time
Jer-
of the year.
What?
You don't like it? I go there enough that they know my order.
I eat two
Well, I
Twinkies
like
every
it,
morning.
but I
Really?
have to
They have
change
it
on my
ready
order
for
all
you.
the time because it gets so.
I wish
Two
they
Twinkies every morning.
Rolls and a chocolate milk from Daylight Donuts. 2 sausages.
Jeremy,
Wash it down with the Red Bull. Two
Jeremy,
Twinkies. Wash down with the Red Bull.
Jeremy, I'm going to change your life forever.
Jeremy, hey,
I'm
Jeremy,
going to change your life forever right now. I want you to do this tomorrow morning.
What?
Okay? Go into Walmart where the Twinkie section is
Yeah.
and get the ones that are glazed. Have you seen these?
Yes, I'm not doing that.
No.
Bro, they are so bad.
No, they're not.
Yes, they're awful.
Go try
I'm
one.
sorry, but they're awful.
I'm
Go
going
try it.
regular, basic Twinkies. Visco.
Visco
Have your
girls
flask of Red Bull.
save the
Wow.
turtles. That's what Jeremy does.
Well, I think we've got our subject.
I think we touched on everything for this podcast. Appreciate everyone for listening. Again, make sure and go check out our site, Surge Sports Network. Subscribe to our YouTube. Be in there Monday night. We'll talk about all things. We'll talk about the spring game. Again, like Jeremy said, drop in the comments where we should eat in Norman. I think, Jaxon, is it right that we'll be vlogging the whole time in Norman? And
that is the plan. That is the plan.
that is the plan. And here's the other part of the plan, and this is very important because another thing we need you to put in the comments is who you think is going to win in a 40-yard dash between Jeremy and Jason.
Ooh.
Hey, are we gonna sneak
Jason's gonna cook them, dude.
on the practice field and do that?
Jaxon.
All I got to say is we were talking earlier about the guy from Texas, 10-2-4. Okay. I'm not going to say what I could run the 100 in, but
What he's trying to say is his 40 times going to be 10-2-4. Good job, Jay.
okay, then if I 10-2-4 years, will be about 20.
Oh, wait, Hunter, who do you
dude,
got in the race? Who
I
do you
got Jeremy. I've seen him.
Jaxon,
win.
who do
I've
you
never
got?
seen him.
Jason's gonna cook them, I think.
Traber.
He's a track coach. He has all the technique. Jay's
Cross
probably
country.
out here
Traber's
looks like
sitting right
a.
there scared to pick against his dad.
Wait,
No,
so
I'm
is,
not.
Who do you have, Brody?
Him, he's going to cook you.
yes,
You're scared to pick against your dad.
I'm not scared to pick against him. But again, subscribe to our YouTube so you guys can see who actually does win the 40-yard dash in our spring game vlog.
Are we going to do it on the practice field?
Are we?
Yes, we need
Might
to sneak
sign me
into
on
the
the
practice field.
Jay, hey,
We're
Hunter,
gonna do it on the sidewalk.
Hunter. Hey,
Hunter, are you going to try out for OU basketball? Walk on?
I might. They might read me.
hey, dude, we need to have a whole entire Sooner Surge 40-yard dash
They
run.
turned their camera off.
All right.
But yeah, I think this goes on to wrap up this podcast. Yeah, again, check out our site. If you're on Spotify, leave a review, subscribe on YouTube, and Boomer.
Boomer.
Boom.